Well, a very good morning. I start off with news, not pleasant, that the president of Uganda Law Society, Isaac Ssemakadde, is unable to make it to the show at the last minute, and quite unfortunate. Well, having emerged winner, having polled more than slightly over 1,000 votes, over 2,000 votes, defeating Isaac Katukunda. By the way, Isaac came out and congratulated him. Yes. Well, it's promising to be a bit stormy for Isaac Ssemakadde, as he promises to wield a stick, to sweep, and to bang tables. Just in case you missed out on his acceptance speech, take a look.
Being tied to poverty and lack of access to education. Access to justice, therefore, underpins all other social and economic rights. That is something 30% of our current population fails to understand. I'm so happy, I'm so glad that 69.5% of you understood it. We are back on track. We are back on track. The lack of access to legal and justice services mostly affects low-income and other disadvantaged groups, which in extreme cases can result in civil war and increase poverty significantly. In Uganda, we have seen a steady increase in social unrest as a result of growing inequality in access to life-sustaining essentials like healthcare and education, the protection of the state, as well as life-enhancing opportunities like jobs and business opportunities. I think nobody here with me has a formal job, but we are doing life. We only have each other. And we look at those with formal jobs paid for by the taxpayer, and we look at the arrogance. With which they treat us, demean us, and degrade us, as if they worked for all that. Today, we get back on track. Those tables paid for by the taxpayer shall be banned. It is in the public interest, therefore, to increase access to justice. As a public interest attorney, formally recognized for efforts in that field by the Law Society, it was clear to me from the start of the Back on Track leadership campaign that increasing access to justice must be a primary goal of the Radical New Bar. So how do we proceed? We proceed, for those of you who asked exactly how, for those of you who didn't understand the 4 Ds, we give you the granular detail tonight. Get your handkerchiefs. We proceed, number 1, by removing the systemic barriers to access to justice. Many are economic barriers. Most people just can't afford legal advice. So, there must be legal aid clinics. Chile Wachiwanuka. Close the mind. Chile Wachiwanuka. Close the mind. You now know. Chiriwa Chiwanuka did what? He has blood of many mothers on his hands. He closed Center for Legal Aid by political action. I stand here to accuse Chiriwa Chiwanuka. How accessible are legal aid clinics if they are so vulnerable to political action and political sanctions? It was not the first time Center for Legal Aid came under administrative sanctions. For those of you who know, you know about High Court Miscellaneous Clause number 87 of 2025, Center for Legal Aid versus Attorney General. Justice Oguli found that now Justice Margaret Apini had acted in malicious abuse of power to deny the Center for Legal Aid a certificate of registration, what you would call a certificate of chamber's approval. For those of you in the for-profit sector, twice, without cause. And she awarded a substantial sum of the damages, which haven't been paid to date. Chiriwa Chiwanuka. Chiriwa Chiwanuka. What incentives does Uganda Law Society offer to advocates to offer pro bono legal aid to the public? What incentives does Uganda Law Society offer you to offer pro bono legal aid to the public? In the course of my travel across the country campaigning for this job, I chanced upon a lady in Kasese, Council Confidence Bureau. I'm sure she's gone back home. Is she still around? Confidence Bureau is a young attorney. She's already recognized as a leader in her community. She's a councillor at the district. She took us to see the flood site caused by River Nyamwanga. We stood where once a school was. She explained to us the danger of Klembe Health Institution, which is always in the river's path, virulent path. The government rebuilds it and the river washes it.
Well, that can only be part of the president's statement in his acceptance speech. He didn't strike any conciliatory note. What stood out for me was his scorn towards the outgoing president, now Senior Counsel Bernard Oundo. You know, he mounted every blame on him, accusing him of being a nothing doer, accusing him of conspiring with the state, accusing him of lots of things. Normally, decorum at least sometimes demands, well, at least for starters, he came out and said he's not for decorum.
I would be very surprised if you blamed him on that.
So I wouldn't
if
blame
he wants
him anyway
a
for
different
anything,
precedent
but,
set.
Traditionally, when you're assuming office, the tone is different. But what does the first day, what does the first speech now spell, or what does it indicate about his presidency? Because he literally lambasted all senior counsels. There is that club of the in-house. It's called the in-house. Save for one person, Francis Gimara, whom he praised for having supported him, having ignored all sorts of the negative propaganda that was being slapped on him, and allowing him time, accepting or inviting him to his office to understand him. That was the only senior counsel whom he praised.
Jala.
The rest,
anti-clockwise does not demand that their traditions way of behavior.
Okay, he's
doesn't
defying
demand
every
that there
order.
is- Because it is.
So what does it mean in this case that the president of Uganda Law Society doesn't relate with the head of the bar? And the head of the bar in this case
Because he
is
wants
the Attorney General.
Because he wants to clean the bar, so he believes.
Okay.
Because he believes
The fundamental questions that we'll be asking this morning: what does the ascent of Semakadde to the top office portend for the rule of law and human rights in the country? It's one of the questions that we'll be discussing this morning. Unfortunately, he's been unable to make it, but a very short notice. One of his aides has been able to make it, and we'll also get to hear from some of the people who opposed his presidency from the start. Are they accepting?
Now he's their leader.
Now he's their leader. We'll take this and more shortly after the break. Good morning. Welcome back, and you're still watching The Morning Breeze, where we are coping with the reality that President Isaac Semakadde is unable to make it to the studio, much as he had promised he would be our guest this morning, for his maiden show as the president of Uganda Law Society. But, well, the big question remains, with all the hashtags, with all the energy, and the promises, what does his presidency portend for the rule of law? Luckily, we are joined by Mary Goretti Nakamia, the spokesperson of Back on Track Campaign Task Force. Good to have you, and a very good morning.
Good morning to you, sir.
How are you coming to terms with the reality that you made it?
We are still very excited. However, we are not surprised. We are not taken by surprise. We understood the pains of different people at the bar, the young and the old, who are suffering, who put their tears on the ballot. The winning didn't come as a surprise. We expected it.
Did the numbers reveal anything to you?
Yes.
2,000 plus?
Yes.
Over 800?
Yes. This was a referendum. We won by 69.5%. These people were putting their pain on the ballot. Young lawyers were putting their pain on the ballot because they relate with the ideologies of President-elect, Senior Counsel Semakadde. Mm-hmm. Yes. And he touched their thoughts. He touched their pain. He developed a central nervous system that enables him to feel the pain of lawyers in different sectors. He touched the actual points that actually affect them.
Yeah, but what kind of tenure is it going to be where the president is not on good terms with the head of the bar? The president, at the same time, is not on good terms with the in-house. The president is not on good terms with quite a number of people whom he calls people pleasers, stiletto, female lawyers. I think he has rattled quite a number of people.
Now that's why you get it wrong. You see, extraordinary people with epitome of geniusness are hard to understand. They are hard to understand in all various circumstances. And during the campaign, where he moved on all the four corners of the country, right, the lawyers gave him his manifestos. He simply asked us to give him the mandate, to give him the lion killer's mandate, to give him the Haina Chensing mandate, for the young lawyers to have the courage, to have the power, to have the faith in their legal profession, to take away any kind of cowardice. This will not be an era of cowardice. It is no more. We are going to see less of the dimwits because he has the bulb. He's here to light the bulb. He's going to liven the dead wood at the bar.
Okay, you can make all those rosy, flowery statements, but look, he's insulting the Attorney General, the head of the bar. I think that's unpleasant, isn't it?
That is what you think. That's why
Why
you
is it
think.
personal with the Attorney General?
I'll borrow the words of Frederick Nietzsche, where he says, you must have chaos within you to give birth to a dancing star. And that change is the change we need now. You're looking at the insults, you're looking at negativity. We are looking at the positivity that he has come to do with. Yes.
With a chaotic start.
Yes, and that's what we stand for. This is the radical new bar. We have come to completely do away with the traditional norms, with the decorum that do not actually produce anything, that do not deliver to the needs of the young advocates, that do not deliver to the needs of justice, that do not deliver to access to justice.
It's the decorum that delivered you. It's the old system.
That is where you get it wrong. The colonial system, Semakade is actually here to alleviate the people from a protectorate attorney general, a colonial attorney general. We need to see things in a different way. We are the change that we need today. We are the change that we need now.
What would persuade you to go in for Semakade, a person who doesn't seem to be nice to ladies at all? Even when you look at his council, it's comprised of men.
Of men. When we look at the council, it's comprised of men. That was the people's mandate, which we cannot dwell with. And that is why I actually support Semakade. He's challenging us female lawyers to become the best of ourselves. Actually, he tasked us in his speech that we should wear the stilettos as long as we can run on a treadmill, because this term is going to be action-packed. We are tired of the poems, the lies, the boardroom meetings, and the what. I don't think a female lawyer at my standard, I need emancipation. I need to understand who I am. What happens to the women in the village if I am also still looking for emancipation? I need to understand who I am. Young female lawyers, you need to exploit your full potential. You need the courage, you need the power to exploit who you are. Can we get out of this need for emancipation at our level? I believe Semakade is the right man.
It's only diplomatic that after winning, you mend fences with the losers, but you still kept pouncing them hard. What's all this vendetta about? We are not venting the losers. We are simply asking them to get back on track, to stop the colonial era, to decolonize their mind, to demilitarize their mind, to democratize their minds, to give a public apology to the nation, to the public, to the advocates, to the young lawyers that they have been lying to stop the poems and the poetic lies. It's time for action. I'm to inform you that the president-elect, Mr. Semakade, is tired of talks. He's tired of talking. It's time for action. He has come for accountability. Well, it's not the first time that we're hearing slogans, but do you think, practically speaking, Semakade will have any inroads into the things that he's vouching for when he's not on working terms with the persons who would help him fix?
That is where you get it wrong. You do not need to agree with me to do the right thing. You do not have to agree with me to do the right thing. I'll give you a clear illustration. Because of the Semakade effect, because of the lion killer's mandate that we have given him, over 1,500 students, law graduates, have been admitted at the bar because they knew that we have given him the mandate. He had talked to those...
No, that happened last week.
Yes, it happened last week because he had talked to those people.
You can't attribute it to Semakade.
We attribute it to Semakade because he had talked to them before and the responsible people got to know in those colonial officers, they got to know that Semakade has come and he has talked to these students so that he leads a strike for their admission, and they acted. That is the action we need now. Those are the people we need. That is the radical new bar. It is not only going to focus on lawyers, it's not only going to focus on young lawyers, not only women, not only everyone, senior lawyers, young lawyers, right from law school and school of law.
Well, we're joined by, again, another lawyer who openly and boldly never supported Isaac Semakade. Tony Tumukunde, good to have you, and a very good morning.
Good morning, Simon.
You came off as a disgraceful loser. There is a picture of you holding your head in disbelief. Has it really sunk in your mind that you lost dismally?
I was actually not disgraceful. I was equally worried for where the profession is going. Every president has a tenure of 2 years. I was thinking of where the 2 years, where shall we be? Shall we be on track? Shall we be off track? Shall we be...
The slogan is back on track.
Back on track, it could be track with you, not track with A. They could be on track, parking probably. You see...
No, T-R-A-C-K.
Yes, and for us that were supporting sober leaders, for us that were supporting leaders that respect institutions, for us that were supporting cooperative workings between government institutions and Uganda Law Society, we think it's a track with you, not a track with A. And that is what we think. But Simon, I don't want to...
It's an error of Semakade, and you have to contend with it.
Yes,
it's the reality.
He is my president.
Okay.
He is my president right now. But that does not mean that I have to follow his manifesto, like he did not follow the manifesto of Bernard Oundo, like he did not follow the manifesto of Simon Chinobe, Fiona Wall. He says all these have been useless leaders. All these have taken the Law Society to the gutters and shutters. So this is what we are saying, that you need to respect, whereas you have a manifesto, probably you are an enforcer of human rights. But not every Law Society president will do what you are going to do. For example, I'll give you an example. In an open speech where I saw you, his welcoming speech, inaugural speech, which was disappointing to me, and I think most of the voters also got disappointed. Bernard is there. You cannot tell me that Bernard has not done something. It would be a total lie. I can give you an example. Bernard entered office when Uganda Law Society was fully analog. It's now digital. That is digital transformation. Bernard entered Law Society when we did not have a home. He's left us in a home. Bernard entered Uganda Law Society when enrollment would be once a month. It's now thrice a month, though we are saying let it go fully digital. But he has done something. Bernard, that you castigated before Open Minds, entered office when we did not have a SACCO. It had taken 30 years when people used to speak about a SACCO. It's there. Whether it's weak or not, it's there. People have subscribed. Bernard, too, that you castigated and called a bunny boy, yeah, entered office.
And nothing doer.
And nothing doer. Entered office when we did not have a benevolent fund. We would lose people towards COVID. Bernard has left us. The least you could get as a contribution is 3 million. At least you would have recognized that where he has stopped, that's where I will start from. But this is
but this is a new clean slate.
But you see, you're not going to spoil what others have done. You need to build on what they have achieved. That is our notion, and that is what Atkunda was saying. That you don't have to tell me that the Attorney General is bad. The Attorney General has practiced for 21 years outside public service. He's been an Attorney General for 2 years. You want to tell me all the other 21 years, Chilio Wachiwanuka has been bad? You want to tell me a Karamajong woman in the DPP, Her Lordship, Jane Francis Abodo, he's been bad? She has not done anything good? So recognize and start from where others have ended. If you are a Law Society president, for me, I would expect, thank God the spokesperson is here, I would expect that these people would recognize that these weaknesses, some of them are part of legal weaknesses. They're in the law. If you call Jane Francis Abodo all names, but the law gives her powers to take over private prosecutions. Where you're ranting, you've been ranting over Jane Francis Abodo taking over private prosecutions. Then change the law. We thank God that now they are in government. They have the mandate to bring petitions. They have the mandate to cause resolutions at the AGM. Let's see where these laws will change. You are ranting at the Attorney General for advising government or being in government at the same time a private practitioner. Precedence. How many Attorney Generals have had only one job and have not been private practitioners before?
Oh, hold it there. Semakade's indecorousness is something that keeps popping all the time. Is it anything that you feel suits the legal profession in the current times?
Yes, it does. I'll borrow words from Thomas Sankara, where it says that you cannot carry out a fundamental change without a certain degree of madness. And Semakade's approach is one that sparks and ignites a wave of progressive leadership in Uganda. It is the leadership, and that is why we won by a landslide, 69.5 advocates. This is a time where several people voted. This was a revolutionary vote. People who had last voted over 13 years, state attorneys were all there to vote.
69.5.
69, even
That's
judicial officers, yes, voted. All these people were putting their pain to the ballot. They were putting their tears to the ballot. They were putting their unanswered questions to the ballot. And they are looking at this radical change, the radical new bar, as the only solution. And it seems like we are talking a lot, but the president is going to act.
No, but look at the issues that Tony raises. You can't just blast anyone, everyone. You're maligning everyone. The past leaders as having been too bad. You're not recognizing their contributions.
Because they do not stand for the radical new bar. Their principles do not align with our principles. They do not align with the radical new bar.
Okay, you're now in a radical government of Mr. President Semakade.
Yes.
What does it spell for the rule of law?
I'll start. My sister Nakamia says a degree of madness. You cannot change the situation without a certain degree of madness. And for me, I would tell her that sometimes you might want to make people mad, but you become more mad than all the people that you want to change. And you see, you are coming to lawyers. This is a noble profession. You are coming to lawyers. Whereas people had that they needed change. It's time now to see whether you will cause the change or you will be the change yourself. Because then we expected you to speak words of a presidential candidate. Now you are a president of Uganda Law Society. How do you have to act? These are stakeholders.
I think you've been too used to diplomacy.
You see, I'm not too used to diplomacy.
It's now a shift.
I'm not too used to diplomacy, Simon. I'm telling you that you see there is need for not being disingenuous. There is need to respect these people. The person that we have voted, the radical change, is a person that is going to sit on different boards and fora of different institutions. I can give you an example. He's going to sit on LDC. He's going to sit on the Law Council. He's going to sit at probably very many fora. But you see, we are saying that when you go to sit there, do not disrespect the people that are there by law. Because you cannot change them. No one can lie to young people. No one can lie to advocates that you can abolish LDC. But if you are respectful and you sit with them, tell them what the change you want. The person you abused 1 week ago was in the process of admitting 1,400 students. And this was a process. The Young Lawyers Network also went and met him. So if you tell us because of the pressure that you exerted on Keke, that is why Keke released the list. I do not actually believe that, because that is a process. There was a lot of pressure from different people, not only the radical, the back to track government. It's not only them. Very many people change. So this is what we are saying, that can you work with other stakeholders? I don't think if you as the Law Society president, you caused a petition on any important issue which is weighed by the lawyers and you took it to the Attorney General, the Attorney General would be so adamant. But I want to assure you that if you go and attack, that is not again being back to track.
No, but this race looked more of Semakade versus Chiriowa Chiwanuka.
And that is what people actually put it out there. But then, are you campaigning for Chirwa Chiwanuka? Chirwa Chiwanuka is one person. You are going to lead 4,993 advocates. Now, if you front the name of an advocate, then you are not causing the issue. I'll give you an example. They said in their back to track government, the welfare of young lawyers was not actually catered for. That is very true. That is very true. But we cannot reach 100%. And that is what Bernard did. Bernard also has his weaknesses. We have been pushing as young people, telling them you need to increase the pay of lawyers. You need to stop sexual harassment. You need to do very many things. But when we have been doing that, we have not disrespected and name-called judges. Please, how would you expect a Law Society President Simon is a person that is going to go to graduation ceremonies? Parents are there. Is that the language you want to hear? A Law Society President is somebody that is going to be called at law dinners, a different forum where the president of this nation is going to sit, and other people that are not lawyers. So if you are using such...
You need to adapt to some madness, to a certain degree of madness.
You see, a certain degree of madness must be done with respect. We are all mad. If I come and tell you, Simon, I don't want this, I'm going to lay off my gown, I will not enter court. I've not disrespected Simon, but if I begin describing you by your private parts, then that is not actually proper. That is not actually proper.
What's in the 4Ds that seems to either not be so much dissected, we are taken away, we are rather swept off by the insults and all the chants? What's in the 4Ds?
In the 4Ds, there is a lot. And this manifesto was actually given out to President-elect Senior Counsel Semakade by the people, by the advocates, on his tour in the different corners of the world. And advocates, I'll just summarize a bit for the public, because I believe advocates are readers. They know what to do. Senior Counsel Semakade tasked us to actually do soul searching. Let the young speak to the old. Let the old speak to the young. We are looking at a Uganda Law Society that has developed a central nervous system to feel the pain of others, to feel the pain of young lawyers, to feel the pain of female lawyers, to feel the pain of senior lawyers, to feel the pain of a poor person who actually does not have, who cannot afford legal fees. So when we are looking at the 4Ds, we are looking at digital transformation first. We are going to...
and it's an effort that the predecessor had embarked on.
Yes, he had embarked on. However, we have our own, as the Radical New Bar, we have what we are looking at. We are looking at giving a platform to legal techs, to innovative young lawyers who are actually out there doing their level best to see that the legal profession grows.
Do you acknowledge that there was an effort in that direction? And it is pretty unfair to castigate the former president.
In that direction, I do not. And in our Radical New Bar, we are looking on how to digitalize the enrollment process. This is a very cumbersome process for someone who has actually done their law degree, went to LDC, and making enrollment really cumbersome for them. We find that it's unfair. We are looking at reversing the policy directive to Uganda Law Reform Commission to make the new laws, the revised laws of 2023, free for all lawyers, as the case had always been. And these are things that are very practicable, and we are starting duty. The president is starting on action. He's going to act. And when we are looking at decolonization, that is another 4D, we are looking at...
Decolonization from what?
Yes.
To what?
Decolonization from the protectorate era, from the colonial systems. When you look, one of the first things that we are actually doing in the first 100 days, we are going to look at the rules that restrict the way lawyers earn. And it's going to be addressed. We are already in terms with the legislators who are going to put this under Parliament. We want to create an era where lawyers can earn, they can get fruits from their efforts. We want to do away completely with the colonial era, with the things that do not matter now.
Isn't that rhetorical, really?
It is not rhetorical. It is achievable. It is achievable. It is achievable to tell the holders or the public actors in their offices that they need to decolonize. They need to do away with the old decorums that do not work. For that one, I'll give a personal illustration. In 2022, I was heavily pregnant. And I woke up in the morning, I tried to fit all my professional shirts. Somehow they could not fit. You know what happens with pregnancy? You wake up in the morning and all of a sudden you've changed weight. I did everything possible and I felt I could only get one dress that would fit me, a big maternity dress. I got my robe, I went to court, High Court, no name mentioned, but the judicial officer refused to see me. He refused to see me. That was colonial. We need to do away with that. We need to inhale digital transformation, that that court can sit while I'm at my home, that a judicial officer who is a female, who has the role, a God-given role of nurturing, should be able to preside over court at her place. Even if she has been deployed in Gulu, why should she come late to court when she's heavily pregnant?
Okay, if you could hold on those two. Do you find the two quite ambitious or unpracticable?
And Simon, you see, this is what we are saying, that they don't even understand their 4Ds. What are you going to decolonize from? You see, these are issues that have been changing. Even the Attorney General, a name calling, accepts that there are things that were analog and need to change. I'll give you an example, and she will bear witness now that Nakami and the team are in government. There is a move to create the e-enrollment. Within a month, it will be rolled out. There is a move to create the e-practicing certificate. These are moves that Bernard has started. We met the Chief Registrar, Sarah Langa, and she was she openly told us that Bernard had interacted with her and they have aligned systems with NSSF, KCCA, URA to work together with Uganda Law Society so that we get e-practicing certificates, we enroll. The Bernard that you called a bunny boy before 1,000 voters is a person that also told the Chief Registrar that there is no need for people now to move to enroll. We are looking at moving at High Court circuits. And this is what we are saying, that the government has done something. But if it has not done to your expectation, can you not disrespect someone that has done something? If you tell me demilitarized, she's here. What is militarized in the legal profession?
You want her to answer?
Yes. Do lawyers move with escorts? Do High Court judges actually move with the guns? Do they put you at gunpoints to sign court orders? These are the things.
You want to hear her take?
Yes, probably.
Demilitarize.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I want to inform you that on the 28th day of September 2024, decorum lost. It lost, and we now have the Lion Killers mandate. In our effort to demilitarize, we are going to popularize the rule of law, even to the military men. They're going to appreciate the rule of law from all different ranks of their positions. We are going to help, ULS is going to help, and the president has stood in for that, all the vulnerable widows and orphans to military men who are moved from all distances up country just to come here for verification. He's going to have it at heart.
But Simon, I don't agree with that. I will not agree.
If I could just take a very short break, and I'll allow you to rebut after the break. But the big question remains, what does Semakade's new era portend for the rule of law in the country? Good morning. Welcome back. We're still doing a post-mortem of a very energizing and very tense or very nervous campaign process that yielded into an election that saw the legal rebel now at the top of the helm, or rather at the helm of the Uganda Law Society. We ask, what does his new era portend? The man who is in with a broom, a stick, a Palestinian garb, and everything symbolic about the new administration. Well, you still had a few issues to raise.
I was actually posing to Nakamia, who is the spokesperson of the Back to Track regime. And I was asking her, what is there to demilitarize that has not been demilitarized? She has given examples of digitalization that has been done. I would ask, is there anything more that the president will add on, even when he's attacking the people that are going to fund, that are going to cause policies in cabinet, that are going to actually support the president? An example is, you have stated it here that you are going to be awarding legal techs in the legal profession. And this has been done at the East African Law Society AGM. I think Ewan Kauma, who was supported by Bernard Oundo, was awarded among the young people that have been innovative in the technology, in the legal tech aspect. And I will also state it that Bernard has not sat. He has not done it all bad. Why I'm using Bernard, I'm trying to show that when you are a leader, you build on a stone, on a foundation that you found existing. And if you want to shatter that what Bernard has done, then you are not going to be on track with A. You are going to be on track with you. Nakamia, if Bernard has not done anything, then I would be here to blame him. But if he has done something, he has done it together with government. And we are saying, even as the young people that are in the profession, the young lawyers, we are saying that whereas we need a radical improvement in the digital world, we are saying we do not need a radical abuse of leaders. That one I disagree. I totally disagree with my president now. That you can need a radical change. If I took my radical ideas to the Attorney General, who I speak profoundly because under the Advocates Act is the head of the bar. And the president is like the assistant to the Attorney General because he's next to the Attorney General in ranking as senior counsel. But if you took your radicalness to the Attorney General in change of digital world, I don't think the Attorney General would be adamant not to accept that. If 1,000 lawyers are saying this is what we need e-enrollment, because he's been there.
Okay. This was a statement to
Yes.
the Attorney General. The election alone spoke volumes, and it was more of a vote of no confidence or a referendum against the Attorney General. You think the message will sink?
You see, Simon, politicians are politicians. If I want to reign on President Museveni, I will not have a manifesto. I will come here and abuse President Museveni. You are running a campaign of an individual, not issues. You are character assassinating an individual. I've given you an example. Chiriowa Chiwanuka has been in practice for the last 21 years. He's only been an Attorney General for 2 years. What bad thing has he done? Those are the issues that we need you to bring up, that you see, Attorney General, we don't agree with you in such an aspect. And I would ask Nakamia on TV to tell people, what is that one bad thing that the Attorney General has done that has pulled back the Uganda Law Society? If they raise those issues, those are the issues that noble and civilized voters need to hear. The people that voted, probably for me, I would say,
Okay.
the people that voted for their government are people that were excited, thinking that the next day, LDC was going to be abolished and they would just enter. The people that voted for them, most of them thought that the Attorney General probably will lose office once.
Do you want to
the
suggest
president?
that land friends voted out of excitement?
Excitement,
No,
exactly.
can
Most
I
of them
answer that?
excited. They were excited. I'm here asking now the spokesperson that what is that one issue that you keep on character assassinating the Attorney General for? What is that one issue that you have
Councillor
name
Nakamia.
called judges? You are female. you saw how your president described the land director of public prosecution. Give us one issue to convince a voter. If this TV we won campaign probably would give us
too little,
okay,
too
okay.
late. Too little, too late now to convince.
Yes.
Yes.
I think Council Tumukunde, and I also beg that you address me in a better way.
Yes.
Do not just refer me to Nakamia.
Yes.
I'm actually Mrs. Senyange,
Okay.
Mary Goreti,
I did not
Nakamia.
know.
And I want to tell you that you actually do not have a track record of all the things that you're talking about.
Decorum.
Yes, she's focusing on decorum. Semakande's track record is clear. It's evident. It speaks for itself. It
On
speaks.
decorum?
No, we're not talking about decorum. You're bringing the past. Those are things of the past. We gave Senior Counsel Semakande a high chasing mandate, a lion killer's mandate. And decorum and colonial era are things of the past. I think we need to cease from speaking from the eras of the past. I think Councillor Tumukunde is a young lawyer.
Yes.
Who should actually be well informed of the 4Ds.
Yes.
Why should I explain to him the 4Ds? Unless most people, like, I don't want you to act like actors in government who are suffering from perennial begging. We look at Councillor Semakande's track record. When you will read, you are an advocate. Councillor Semakande, when he instituted a suit against the Attorney General, we shall not go into details. Semakande is now more than Councillor Tumukunde. So I would ask that you kindly be honest to the young lawyers who you actually inspire.
Yes.
Be very honest. Be very practicable. Let us stop being the goody-goodies.
And you see, Simon, this is what I'm saying. I'm very honest to the young lawyers. I'm telling the young lawyers that whereas I inspire you, I do not want to lie to you by abusing judicial officers. I do not want, I've asked you what has been colonized by the judges. Give it to us. What has been militarized by the Attorney General? Give it to us. If you go to DPP's office, can you tell us whether DPP is still under analog that you need maybe to digitalize? And for me, whereas I've been pushing for the agenda of young lawyers, no one has heard me disrespect people. I've not name-called people. We have been strong on issues, not character assassination. And this is where I'm telling people that whereas you need a massive change, a radical change,
Okay, your submission alone paints a picture of a catastrophic leadership that the Law Society is going to be in for the next couple of years.
And you see, this is what the majority voted. It's democracy. Can we give them 2 years and see whether whatever they are speaking for, even after 1 year, they would have achieved it? You see, the track record of
You're cautiously optimistic.
The track record of Senior Counsel Semakande speaks volumes. That has been personal. You don't need to tell me that Simon Peter Chinobe did not achieve anything before he became Law Society president. You don't need to tell me that Bernard Owundo did not achieve anything. You want to tell me Fiona Wall did not achieve anything. This is what we are saying, that you might have achieved something personally. If I go to Supreme Court, because I've heard you people saying that if somebody has not stepped in Supreme Court, then what is he there for the lawyers? That I disagree. You might not have stepped in the Supreme Court, but you have ideas that can change the society.
Who is Semakande going to work with in the first place? Now that he's bruised everyone, the in-house, the past presidents, the Attorney General.
They do not need to agree. They do not need to be on good terms with Semakande to actually do the right thing. They do not need to be on good terms. They're supposed to spot the right thing and do it. Councillor Tumukunde is bringing in the Attorney General. I think because you're actually conflicted. Since you worked at KK before, didn't you work there?
I'm not conflicted.
No, didn't you work at KK?
Simon, you see, respect does not need a conflict. Did I work with the Chief Justice? Did I work with Jane Francis Abodo? Did I work with Sarah Langa?
The question was, did you work there?
Yes, I worked there 5 years ago.
So that is the reason why you're actually driving into the past. We are here to represent...
Okay, is it a reality that the Attorney General is under attack?
No.
The Attorney General.
Simon, did your president, the senior counsel now, work with Bernard Owundo? He was on the rostrum telling people how he worked and supported Owundo. We are saying that if you do not respect people, if you do not respect leaders, then we are going to an era of worries. For me, that is what I'm saying.
Then they should buy handkerchiefs. Because the radical new bar is here to expose the impunity of the actors in those public offices.
But you
Let
see,
them buy handkerchiefs.
Simon, we are at a discussion, a topical discussion. Give us the impunity.
Okay, you've had the promises.
Yeah, I've had the promises. Now we are going to implement your manifesto. Your manifesto was...
You don't find them realistic?
They are not realistic. She's here, she's the spokesperson, well-versed and grounded in their manifesto. I'm asking, what is that impunity that Jane Francis has been posing to maybe DPPs? What is that impunity that the chief registrar has been imposing that you will not work with? And these are the issues that people need to hear. That you see there has been an impunity probably. Some people have been sat on, other people. These are things that we need to hear. You raise them.
I'll answer that by letting you know that you will have to talk to your soul and all the stakeholders, all the actors in those public offices. They need to talk to themselves, to talk to their spirits and their minds. They have to come in terms that this is the radical new bar. This is going to be a total paradigm change.
You look too smooth to bang tables. Do you bang tables yourself?
Yes, we are here to bang the tables.
How?
In every way possible, through activism.
How?
How? In all ways. And that is why President Semakade, president-elect, was elected. Those 69.5 people elected him to bang the table. His track record, he's a table banger. He's a legal rebel. He has fought for all people.
Are you a banger yourself, a table banger yourself?
Why would I be here if I'm not a bang of the table?
Well, as we sign out of here, what are some of the predictable hurdles that you see ahead of Semakade's tenure?
I do not want to be a prophet of doom. Let me try to be a prophet of loom probably for today. But I want to tell you, if you are a law society president, you're given a rank of a senior counsel that calls a certain level of nobility, courtesy, decorum. If you did not actually want to be a senior counsel, unless you're telling us that even the position of senior counsel now is old-fashioned, because this is, when you become a law society president, legally these are the ranks you are taking on. You are demilitarizing, or you are name-calling actually all the past senior counsel. This is where you're going to sit. They have a committee where they sit. So you as the senior counsel now, the president law society, I foresee, and this I will be open with you, there is no institution that will work with you if you disrespect them. You are calling people all names, and at the same time you are going to sit with them in functions. You are going to cause policies. You are going to cause petitions. How then will you cause a change? For activism, he will score highly. For activism, he will score highly. For calling out people probably to do certain acts, he will score highly. But for changes that Bernard has reached at, and I foresee his president might even fail to sit, might even refuse the house, the ULS house, calling it a colonial building. Because this is a house near Keke's chambers now, and you do not want to be seen near Keke. So that is the extent of disagreement that we have. We are saying that the little you have found, Simon, I want you, the press, you covered his speech. If you played it twice on this TV, he would lose voters. There are people that voted for him because probably they felt Isaac.
You're still in voting mood.
Not in voting mood, but I'm worried.
I know.
I'm worried on how they will implement that.
Well, we need to get out of here, but there is one picture that remains on my mind. Tumukunde losing and taking it in. Can my producer play that picture, please?
And before we do that,
as we sign out,
we need to conclude.
You're back on track.
That we are back on track.
Bang it a bit.
I want to tell young lawyers that you are the change that you need.
Well, thank you very much. Tone Tumukunde, Kanso Nakamya Senyange, for making time to fill in. That's Tumukunde for you.
He lost.
It was too much to grasp.
He lost.
Good morning.